Hey guys, welcome back to Lavender. I'm super excited to talk about astrology. Astrology is something that I've been into most of my life, like literally since I was a kid. And it's not that I'm an expert at it or anything, but I got more into astrology and how to read a birth chart last year when I read the book The Inner Sky by Stephen Forrest. So I learned a lot about how to read the birth chart, a lot about astrology and the meanings, and I realized that I know more about astrology than the average person. So this video is for the average person. If you're an expert, you don't need to watch this. But I just want to explain astrology in more depth than just simply like your sun sign. So get ready for a fun video. First things first, let's clarify. Astronomy is the scientific study of celestial bodies, so it's based on facts and research, and astrology is the interpretation of celestial bodies, meaning it's the way we interpret what's in the sky. It's the poetry, it's the art, it's very subjective. So that's why I think astrology is very fun, because it's very subjective, but it's really cool that everything has like a meaning, and it's not exactly scientific, but it's more of an art. So what is a birth chart? Your astrological birth chart is basically a snapshot of the sky at the time and location that you were born. So depending on where in the world you were born and the exact time, it's the picture of what's in the sky. It's kind of a map of all the planets, the sun, and the moon. So it's very important to be specific on like the exact time that you were born, because every hour or two, like your birth chart changes because the sky is moving. No, Earth is moving, and so the snapshot of the sky is moving. That's why you want to make sure you have the right time that you were born when you're getting your accurate birth chart reading. So side note, if you are Chinese, I know there's like a superstition in Chinese culture because of like feng shui and all the stuff to like never give your birth date time details to anybody out there. This is why I don't want to like post my exact birth chart or anything, but it's because we believe that once someone knows your exact birthday, birth time, then they will know a lot about your fate and people can use it against you. And so this is something that I personally, because my mom influenced me, I would personally want to keep it a little more secretive. So just letting you guys know. So how do you get your birth chart reading? So there are plenty of websites where you can input this information into. So Cafe Astrology is one, astro.com is another, and there are also a lot of mobile apps that you can use to get your birth chart. My favorite astrology app is CoStar. So that one like is very modern and chic, and it outlines like your birth chart and all the details in a very like clean way. So check those out. I'll link those down below. Now let's talk about the primal triad, which is your sun, your moon, and your ascendant. Sometimes people also refer to the ascendant as your rising sign. So these are the three more important signs, generally speaking, in your birth chart. So you might see people who are really into astrology, they'll list all three signs because all three are like important, more than just listing your sun sign. Your sun sign, it just depends on the day you were born, in what season you were in. So I was born in October, so I am a Libra. By the way, I have this journal where I've taken a lot of notes from the astrology book that I read, so I might refer to this every now and then. So generally speaking, your sun sign represents your ego, your personality, your self-image. It is the core of who you are. Your moon sign represents your emotional self. Your moon is your sensitivity, your emotions, your feelings, your mood, your heart. Sometimes people relate more to their moon sign than their sun sign because your moon is your emotional self, and so you feel more with that sign. And whatever sign you are in your moon, that is a clue to what will make you happy and what will make you feel fulfilled. So I am a Sagittarius moon, and Sagittarius are all about like adventure, exploring, trying new things, and I can really relate to that a lot of the time as well. Your ascendant or rising sign is essentially your mask to the world. It is how other people perceive you. Think of it as like first impressions. Other people might see you in a certain way when they first meet you, and then when they get to know you, then they realize, oh, you're really like a different kind of person. So your ascendant is how you appear to others. And just so you guys know, my rising sign is Gemini. By the way, to not make this video too long, I'm not going to go into the details of the meaning of each sign, each planet and all of that, because there are tons of resources online about that. I'm actually going to create just a simple like notes that you can read on my blog post, just like quick keywords and notes regarding each sign or planet or house. So after you've gotten your birth chart, you can take note of your sun, your moon, and your rising sign. And then you can look at the notes that I put on my blog post and see what like each sign corresponds to. So a way you can make sense of your primal triad signs is to put it into a sentence like this. I am a blank with the soul of a blank, wearing the mask of a blank. So depending on your sign, you'll find the meaning and the archetype of your sign and just kind of like plug in the words. So for example, for me, I am an artist with the soul of a philosopher, wearing the mask of a teacher. That's because an artist is what a Libra is. The philosopher is an archetype of the Sagittarius moon, and then the teacher is one of the archetypes for a Gemini. I hope that made sense and I hope that helped. All right, so that was the basics. Are you ready to dive deeper? Let's go. So let's talk about the components of the birth chart. So as I mentioned, there are 12 signs. So these are what you've heard before, the Aries, Scorpio, Libra, Leo, all of those. I don't know them in order. And then there are 10 planets. And by planets, we also include the sun and the moon as planets, even though they're not exactly planets, but just, you know, celestial bodies is what I'm saying. And then there are 12 houses on the birth chart. So think of the 12 houses as like a clock on the birth chart. There's like, you know, literally like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way to 12. And each house represents a specific area of life. So the different astrological signs correspond to different personalities, different characteristics. The planets correspond to different mind functions, mental functions, whether it's your ego, your communication, your thinking, your aggression, things like that. And then the houses represent the area of life, whether it's the house of personality, house of marriage, house of career, house of friends, house of troubles. It just goes on and on. All right, so let's make sense of it all. So when you're looking at a birth chart, you're going to see a circle graph with a bunch of like planets scattered throughout the graph. And then you're going to see along the border of the circle the different signs. There are 12 signs. And if you look in the middle, you'll see different notations for the numbers. So Roman numerals will tell you like whether it's first house, second house, third house, fourth house, all the houses, okay? So when looking at the birth chart, start with the planets. So look at the planets one by one. A planet tells you the what. Remember, the planet means the mental function, whether it's like your communication, your aggression, or something else. The sign that it lands in tells you the how and the why. So the sign, remember, is the personality or the characteristic, and that will help you decipher the how and the why of that mental function. And lastly, the house that that planet is in tells you what area of life this is mostly happening in. Like, where is most of this activity going in? And that's the basics of it. It's not exactly easy or very intuitive at first. You're gonna have to practice understanding the birth chart and how like the different planets and signs work together. And there's definitely more detail to reading a birth chart that I'm not gonna go into in this video because it's like too advanced and I barely understand it. But I hope that that gives you like just a basic info on how to start deciphering what these planets and these signs and these houses really mean. Now let's talk about the general shape of your birth chart, because I feel like this is a pretty easy but very interesting way to look at it. So when you're looking at your birth chart, there you see a circle and then you see like, you know, the horizontal line and a vertical line. So if you have more planets like aggregated in a certain area, it means something. So if you have more planets on the upper hemisphere of your chart, then that is called objectivity. And that means a lot of your life's battles, challenges, or just activity, a lot of your life like moments and events are public. And it's like your learning and growth will be, I guess, on a public stage, a public scale. It'll be more outward. If you have more planets on the lower side, the southern hemisphere of your chart, then that is called subjectivity, and that means that most of your life's battles and challenges will be within. So upper hemisphere is public and lower hemisphere is private. So personally, my birth chart, I have a lot of planets in the lower southern hemisphere, meaning that a lot of my life's battles and challenges are private, that things that I have to go through internally just from within. And it might not make sense at first because you're like, wait, you're a YouTuber, your life and career is like so public. Yes, it's so public, but all the like big things that I have to go through seem to be like me dealing with myself, my own insecurity, my confidence issues, things like that, like your fears. And it's basically saying like most of your life's battles will be in here. So I just thought that was interesting because, you know, some people, their battles and challenges are really like public and outward, and some are private. Another thing you can look at is whether your planets are falling to the left or right side of that graph, whether it's like west or east. So left would be west, right would be east. So left side means freedom and the right side is fate. So this is something I don't understand completely, but I believe it means something like if most of your planets are on the freedom side, that means that your life is a blank slate and you have a bit more free will to kind of, you know, take your life anywhere you want to take it. If more of your planets fall to the right side, which is the side of fate, the east side, then that means a lot of your life situations are predetermined if you believe in fate, but you still have the choice to like, you know, be flexible and take it wherever you want it. But it just means that a little bit more is predetermined, and if you have your planets on the left side of the circle, then that means your life is a blank slate and you're free to create it. So my planets are actually more on the side of fate, and I want to talk to like a real astrologer to like understand this concept a little bit more, but I just thought that was really interesting, something that I wanted to share with you guys. Next, let's talk about lunar nodes, because I think this is also really fun. So if you look at your birth chart, you'll find this like notation. There are two. One is a lunar south node and one is a lunar north node. So wherever that node is, the sign that it is in, so the south node means that that is your past, that is who you used to be, it's where you've been, it's your karma, your karmic past, it's your instinctive automatic behavior, it's who you are naturally, it's your comfort zone, it's your safe route. So it's telling you where you've been, and then your lunar node tells you where you should go if you want to have the most growth. So your south node and your north node are 180 degrees apart. They're literally across from each other on the birth chart, meaning that that is like the most you can grow. You're just trying to like stretch yourself to be the complete opposite of what you used to be. So your south tells you where you've been, your north tells you where you should go, where you kind of have to grow towards. So look at the signs that are in your south node and the sign in your north node, and it'll give you a clue on, you know, how you can become more like the north node sign, how you can grow in that direction and leave the south node personality behind, because it's kind of like been there, done that. If you want to grow, if you want something new, if you want a challenge, then you look to that north node. While we're here, let me check my birth chart because I forgot what my south and north node were. Side note, you might not always find both the south and the north node on your birth chart. Sometimes, like on mine, I see only the north node. So just look for the north node and just know that your south node is directly across from the north node. It's 180 degrees. Oh my god, this is so interesting. I just looked up like what my south and north node meant. You can Google that because I'm not an expert. But anyway, my south node is in Leo and my north node is in Aquarius, meaning Leo is my past, who I've been there, done that, and Aquarius is where I need to head to. So Leo is the sign of like the performer, the child and the king, the one that wants all the attention, all the love. And so I believe that in my past, I lacked love from parents, and I have that like desire, that need for attention, which is partly why I started a YouTube channel and performing. And that is who I used to be. That is who I was as a child. And those were my holes. Those were my wounds of like needing attention. And Aquarius is a sign of individuality, of independence, of being weird and not caring about what other people think of you. So you see how it's so different? Like Leo is the sign of like wanting to be liked and wanting to be loved. And then Aquarius is a sign of like, who cares about all that? I'm just gonna be myself. So that is really like my life path, I guess. I can totally already see how that's relevant in my life because I have to learn to be more like the Aquarius, just be myself and not care about what people think of me, not need love or attention from anyone else, just give myself self-love and that's it. All right, so I'm gonna leave it at that, but I hope you guys like that because I think this is super interesting. I can't believe I haven't made a video on astrology before. I think I used to think it was a little too weird and a little too left field, but it's pretty mainstream now and it's pretty accepted. So love you guys so much. Bye.